I actually grew up in a family where it was super negative. Like, both my parents, extremely negative people. They looked at the world from a negative perspective, from a dark perspective. Everything was bad. There's no optimism. There's just no spirit of fruit of any life there. Like, we really were in a dark world.
Yeah.
And I never really realized that until I got older. When I got early 20s, I started realizing sometimes I would be in the store, I'd say something like, "Man, that fool looks like trash," and I'm like, "It's just
really
casual
said that,
conversation."
No,
like,
bro.
it was that bad, but it's so like normal to me that that's how I was brought up. That's how I learned to look and perceive things. Always look at the negative things of life before I ever consider the positives.
Yeah.
So for a long time, I even looked at, okay, where did I fail today? That was the first thought. It wasn't, where did I succeed today at? It's like, where did I fail at today? Then we'll talk about success later. But sometimes I would look at the failure so much that the wins would never come up later.
Bro.
And so I was living a life of failure, a life of negativity. And it really destroyed me until I realized, like, this is a habit and I can't let this keep going. And so that was big.
I think I grew up not necessarily just in all aspects of life, just growing up in high school and just through my entire life. I grew up not celebrating the victories, but more so we gave attention to the bad effects. We gave attention to the bad moments. We gave attention to what bad things could happen, which in those mindsets, I mean, sometimes they were realistic, but a lot of times it's just like we're thinking so far ahead, we don't know what's going to happen. And so being in that environment for me, bro, it just, my whole mindset, what do you think I started doing? Bro, negativity out the blue all the time, bro. Like, I always was expecting people to fail. I was always expecting myself to fail. I just had negative outward look towards everything in life just because of the place where I was, the people I was around, and all these different things. And just being in that environment really put me in that area. And even if I tried to be positive, bro, it was just so hard because I was just consistently in that area. And so I like, especially living in the world today, I think negativity goes around like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Negativity is passed around. Negativity is just so pushed on people's agenda 24/7, regardless of what you're doing. You see it on social media, the big thing is like people can have a brilliant idea and somebody just comes by and says, bro, that's literally a more complicated way to do something, rather than like, saying, hey, your creativity is good. This is a great idea. It's a different way to do it. All these different things. And I think like in this world, we suffer through a time where people are just so negative. And I think during COVID, set a lot of people back, and it's just like negativity was just all over the area in everybody's lives. People fighting over toilet paper.
Oh, yeah.
Because
it's like chaotic things like bring out the real truth of what's going on the inside.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really cool to see. Well, not cool, but it's like you see what people are really going through when something traumatic happens.
Oh, yeah.
And you see what the fruit on the inside and what the byproduct comes out as.
Yeah,
as negativity.
You get to see what they actually think by their actions sometimes. And so today, like, negativity is going to be the topic.
Yeah.
What would negativity mean to you? What does it mean to you whenever somebody says the word negative or somebody says the word negativity, like you're being negative? What does that mean to you guys whenever somebody just brings that up? What is that definition? Like, what is your definition of negative or negativity?
For me, it's like several things. So it's not just like I grew up with a negative mindset to where everything I looked at was either it was a failure, I messed up, or like someone else messed up. So it's like either I put the blame on someone else for what negative things happen, or I put the blame on myself. Something else that really stands out to me is you mentioned about how the world can be real negative. And I think of the context of the way our social media age and all this, everything content related that gets some of the most attention is these practical pranks. It's just negative topics or talking to each other. Like people will speak so negative and tear them down so hard, and they think, all right, this is good. And it's like there's an entire TV show dedicated that's all about can I trash talk you enough to break you? And like, is that really the best space to be in? Is that really the best thing to watch or listen to? And it's like, it's what grabs every young man's attention, every young woman's attention. And it's not just affecting them. I see older generations, they'll share content with me, and it's just negative. It's like, and that's something I consider with negative is that practical pranking is. It's like, can I hurt this
You
person
out to
enough
get
to laugh?
somebody, you know. You out
Is this
to get
gonna
somebody.
make you laugh? Yeah.
Man, yeah, pranking. That whole stuff is another level.
And
but,
COVID, honestly, thinking back, COVID's when I saw it grow. Like, it just blew up. And some of the people that are to this day still on social media, still sharing that content, like, I've heard a few where they've stepped back from it and they realize, wow, we were like hurting ourselves in the middle of that.
Yeah.
But then there's others like that's what they're making their income from. So it's like they know it's bad, but they can't sacrifice the fact it's what's making a living for them now. I'm like,
Danny,
Yeah.
the word negativity. What does it mean to you? What is your definition of negativity, or how do you view it? Do you have something?
Well, I can go back to whenever I had a girlfriend back in the day, high school. You know where that stuff goes for. I was the hopeless romantic. Hopeless romantic.
So
yeah.
explain to people what that means.
Hopeless romantic basically is it's basically that you're the victim all the time. You're the victim. They don't want you. Oh no, I just want her to be happy, and me over here just sad and negative and depressed. And I'm like, no, as long as you love him, I'll be okay. Victim, negative. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought about.
Yeah.
So hopeless, but romantic. Like one day, it's like being like. I don't know. I mean, just wishing that thing will happen to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it will never happen to me. And I accepted that. And then, yeah, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's like negativity. It's like a huge weight on top of me. You know what I'm saying? It's like heavy. It's a heavy weight. And so basically, like, for negativity for me is like one of those areas where you can't see better. So you get bitter.
Oh, that's true.
So you just bitter the whole time.
Yeah.
Offended if needed. It's always about me. It's very selfish for me. Negativity is very selfish.
Oh, yeah.
And I find myself, and I have actually disciplined myself to keep away from negative thinking, even negative people. And this is why I can kind of say that I'm a little bit misinformed about what y'all hear on social media and stuff, because I really do discipline myself to stay away from all of the comment sections, especially the comment sections where you're completely
They will dog
shredded,
you. Yes.
shred you apart and tear you apart. Remember that scene off of Wreck-It Ralph? Whenever he was on Wreck-It Ralph Part 2, whenever he was posting himself with the funny faces, and all of a sudden he walked into the comment section. Remember that part?
Yeah, I remember that.
And
part.
all of a sudden he just
started to tear him down.
Man. So I actually disciplined myself to keep away from like that and etc. Now there's a healthy way to approach that, which we'll probably talk that on another podcast about that. But
yeah, and I think a lot of the times. Well, negativity, like you said, what's that one thing you just said about bitter?
You don't get better, but you get bitter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times it has to do negativity depending on if it's self-inflicted to yourself. A lot of the times it's like there was something that caused you to be that way, to think that way.
Heck yeah.
And so like most of the times people don't realize that thing carries on to you until you deal with that thing.
You ain't wrong.
And therefore you're always bitter about something, you know.
And to tag on to that is that this negativity, you weren't born with it.
No.
So to think that I'm negative by nature, no. My daughter right now, she's having a blast. She has no negativity in her life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What you just said, you get it from other areas.
Yeah, you're not born with it. If anything, you pick it up or learn it from your
It's not
circumstances.
really self-inflicted. It's then other inflicted.
Yeah, so like sometimes you just end up picking it up either around the people that you're around, or you pick it up just because something happened in your life that's turned your heart into something differently than it's supposed to be, you know. And so I think a lot of the times is when it comes to negativity, I know for me, myself, and there's been times, bro, where like negativity has taken a hold of my life. So therefore, what's the point of life? I questioned life at one time. It's like, bro, what's the point of life?
Yeah.
people suck. Sometimes your parents can suck. Sometimes your friends can suck. Sometimes circumstances suck. And so you're like, what's the point? Because like negativity affects the mind heavily.
100%.
True.
Negativity, it will crush your mind, it will crush your heart, and it will actually make you sick. You know, one of the I read a while back is that one of the things that comes from negativity is chronic stress. It's like you have a buildup of stress just because. Think about it. Negativity is just thinking badly about something.
Yeah.
You know, thinking badly. I had the definition right here about negativity, but it says right here is the expression of criticism of or pessimism about something. I didn't know what pessimism meant. I don't know if y'all know what pessimism means. I didn't know what it meant. But pretty much, pessimism is a tendency to see the worst aspect of things or believe that the worst will happen. And then it says a lack of hope or confidence in the future. The big thing that I seen was believe that the worst will happen. You self-sabotage so many things being negative.
Yeah.
So many things. You could be a great leader, but if you're a negative leader, you can self-sabotage your leadership.
Oh, 100%. I think in all my mentee meetings, mentor meetings that I have with my mentees, I'm finding myself more building them up and ripping away all the negative things that people have ever said to them, that they said to themselves. Sometimes I'm in the meeting, I'm like, look, if you say that you're not good enough one more time, I'm going to tell you shut your tail up.
That's good though, but why?
Yeah.
Because if you keep telling yourself that over and over and over again, then you'll become what you consistently become what you consistently say. You become what you consistently think.
It takes a hold of your life.
This is why you have to be careful what you consistently feed off of, what you consistently think.
Yeah.
Like consistency is good. But you got to consistently do the right thing, not the wrong thing.
Because if you consistently do the bad, you're going to end up becoming that bad thing that you were not wanting to be. And so, like, even just like you said, you tell your mentees and the people that you're mentoring that is because you know dang well that if negativity hits their mind and inflicts their heart, bruh, you start putting up walls. You start looking at yourself this way, and then you stop walking out in purpose. You stop walking out in leadership, and then you go back to like being stuck, being alone, not moving, and I think that's one of the biggest problems that sometimes leaders can have is like
100%.
the negative the negative aspect.
Oh yeah.
There's a difference between realistic and negativity. Let's get that straight. Some people
100%.
are like, I'm just being realistic, but what they're saying are things that potentially could happen, but it's far off. But then sometimes you push it too much,
especially for the analytical and the very analytical and very the people who like to give a lot of criticism. They can be very, very negative and etc. I think I can fall into that category. I can become very analytical, very critical. The thing I got to remember is I got to extend grace.
Exactly.
I have to remember to extend grace. Like, look, we're all a work in progress. I don't need to put perfection as a standard for every person around me. Especially for myself, since I'm the hardest one. I'm the hardest one on me, myself, and
for sure.
So I have to set up I can't steal my joy. I can't steal other people's joy, and I can't let the enemy or some negative thought steal my joy.
And I'd say there's something I'd encourage. It's like it's not like you can't think about your negativities. Like you can't think about anything negative. Like you have to live this optimistic lifestyle for your entire life. Like,
every time.
Yeah, you don't have to stay positive all the time.
It's positive thinking versus optimistic thinking. They're two different things, but keep going.
Yeah, but the big thing is if you do run this path of like listening and living this life of negativity, when something negative comes to you, you're going to shut down. You're going to quit.
Immediately.
You're going to run. And I know people in my life that they think this way 24/7. And they say, oh, I'm just being real. Just like you're saying realism. Like, I'm just trying to be real with you. I'm like, I appreciate you being real. But the honest truth is you shut down every time something comes against you. Every time something goes bad, you're the first one to shut down.
And sometimes it's not even that big.
No, but it's because you live the life of thinking negative. So when something comes, you're going to immediately shut down and say, okay, I can't do this no more.
And that's that thinking of what, like it said in the definition of pessimism, is that you're already defining a bad outcome before it even happens.
Yeah.
Knowing that there's potential for it to be a lot of good. Like, for instance, this podcast. We could have listed all the bad things that we could have encountered in
I
this
have
podcast.
many thoughts.
Yeah. We could list so many, but it's just like, okay, well, we don't know that until we get into it.
Yeah.
And then as time goes
true.
by, because we're like, well, we have time, this and that. Like, we were asking all the questions before we started looking for some of the answers to those questions. Like, a lot of times we're like, do we have enough time? Well, not once did we sit down and say, we just don't have no time. We started looking at, okay, what gaps of time do we have? Mm-hmm. And therefore, we didn't even have to ask that question to ourselves to say, do we have time for this? No, well, we made time, first of all.
Yeah.
We made the time for it. But if we easily said, we just don't have time, and we never looked at our time gaps, this would have never happened.
That's true.
No.
And so a lot of the times that negativity can grab a hold of you and push you in a different direction. Mm-hmm. I remember not too long ago, I went on a trip to Atlanta, and we were me and my buddy Lucas, my best friend Lucas, we were on our way. You know, we got the flight was supposed to leave at like 9:20. So we showed up at 6. You know, we're getting through TSA, making sure that we get there early. It took us like 20 minutes to get through the entire thing. So we were just chilling.
Yeah.
As soon as we get through TSA, as soon as we get through security, bro, get an email. Get an email saying your flight has been delayed.
No, bro.
And usually an hour is good.
Yeah.
Bro, we got delayed by 3 hours.
Jeez.
We got our stuff delayed 3 hours.
I was watching your reels and your stories about that.
But here's the
That's
crazy
true.
thing is that the entire time, we're like, oh, okay, we can make it. We started out good. We're like, we can make it. But then the challenge came where the airline, it started out with the first departure would be like at midnight. I was like, okay, well, 2 hours, just not too bad, 2-3 hours or so. Yeah, because 9 to 12, 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then we get another email, and it says 1 in the morning. And then we stopped getting emails, so we're like, 1 in the morning. It stopped there. We check our flight times, and it keeps updating. 1:25, 1:45, 2:15, 2:30, and it finally stopped there. Is at 2:30. Then next, you know, it will fluctuate. 2:35, 2:32. Yeah, in the morning. In the morning.
Dang.
Yeah, and it's like 2:35, 2:32, and every time that the flight would change, the more and more we would get like more negative. It's like, at this point we're just waiting for them to change it again.
Yeah.
And so like those circumstances just made us think like, I'm just waiting till they.
You're just looking for
I'm just waiting.
the negative aspect to come out.
And not gonna lie, during that time I was like, I'm over it. I'm pretty sure they're gonna change the time.
Dang.
And at that point, I
Don't
was
even
like,
care
bro,
anymore.
I was like, I'm just ready to get to where I'm trying to go and trying to hang out with my boys. You know, all this different stuff. Like, it just kept piling on and on and on. And the entire time, we didn't even know what to do.
No,
All
it's
the
cool. It's
the
cool.
eating places were closed. Everything was closed.
Negativity can steal your present.
Bro.
Like, completely steal you from enjoying
yeah.
the now.
Yeah, because we were supposed to go on a trip,
Yeah.
bro. We were supposed to go on a trip. We're super excited. We're on track. The next, boom, it hits, and it just like sucked
It
the
makes you
life out
forget
of
the
us.
now. It makes you forget the people you were with.
Yeah.
You were with your best friend and you're cool dudes.
Yeah, and we
those are the
started
guys
out
you have the
good.
fun the most with.
Yeah,
Right?
And we started out good, and then next, we start decreasing. We're ready to go.
And then you start the people beside you start disappearing.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
because you start seeing negativity. And
Yeah.
once you start looking for it, it starts showing up out of nowhere.
Exactly. That whole story is just like, and then whenever we were on our way back, we were already thinking. My buddy Lucas was already thinking, watch, they're gonna change our flight. Our flight is gonna change. I was like, bro, don't say that. I was already practicing to not be negative because I was like, usually if we think negative, then our moods would change, our attitude would change, perspective changes. I was like, don't say that just yet. I said, I don't want to be in a bad mood. I said, I don't want to be there. So I was like, let's just wait. I have a good feeling about this. Luckily, I think it only changed by like 30 minutes or so, and we were good, an hour maybe. And so thankfully we were good. But the entire time I could have been like, oh, we're finna go through the same cycle. And
Yeah.
that's the same thing with negativity in your life. When you're hurt like that, sometimes you've experienced it before, and so now you think it's gonna happen again later on with like people. Say people have hurt you in your life. And these people hurt you so bad that you don't want to trust anybody. So therefore, you're negative towards any type of relationship that you're with. And you're like, I'm not going to give this person a chance. Knowing they probably could be the person that could help you through some of the big situations going on in your life. But negativity keeps those people out, because with negativity, you never give anything a chance.
Yeah.
Negativity keeps things out that are trying to enter, that are good in your life, but you push them out because your outlook is all kinds of whack. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's ever happened to y'all, but like just growing up, bro, I pushed everything out.
Yeah. I would say it's a good question. It's like, how many opportunities did you push away before they came because you were too negative?
For real.
How many opportunities did you miss because you were too negative?
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. So what do you think causes negativity? Thinking about it, thinking about your personal life, what has caused negativity for your mind, your heart to go negative at any point of your life? What has caused it to just be like that? I know for me, it was my life circumstances. I think sometimes, like, I just, I didn't get the outcomes I wanted. Sometimes I put myself in bad situations that had negative outcomes, so therefore I had negative thoughts. Some circumstances I had no control over and put me in a negative state.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes negativity could come from just life.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can just happen through life. Sometimes it can happen through your circumstances. Sometimes it can happen through people who hurt you, all these different things. Has there ever been a time in your life where you can pinpoint what caused you to be negative in an area?
I do know that in general, I think that negativity was brought up because my needs weren't being met.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then getting your needs met by the wrong stuff versus the right stuff.
Yeah.
That right there. So, like a boyfriend or girlfriend, that ain't going to do it for you. That ain't going to meet your needs. Your parents, even your parents, sometimes they can't even meet your needs.
No.
There's got to be something deeper. There's got to be something more. Because my parents didn't know how to do some of the stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they learned, like my father got it from his father, negativity. My grandfather actually, I think I heard that he actually beat my grandmother. So that's what my dad saw growing up.
Yeah.
And so then he carried that on to the next generation, which is us. He never beat us at all, but it was like one of those nonverbal abuse, I guess. Being there but not being there. Absent.
Yeah.
Being there but being absent and not meeting our needs. And all of a sudden, because my needs weren't being met by you, thus saying that I'm not good enough, then it goes into those negative thoughts. And it's like, I'm not good enough. I'm not capable enough. I guess I got father wounds. I guess I got daddy issues. Isn't that what they're calling it now? Daddy issues.
Daddy issues, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's where I believe that it comes from. It can come from any direction.
Yeah.
Anything that triggers those needs not being met.
Exactly,
From my
yeah.
perspective.
Johnny, you ever experienced something?
Yeah. For me, it was like I grew up with a negative family. Now I try to become like an optimist, but at the same time, I was realizing like the way I saw my family wasn't good enough, and I was like, I always want to be better, and that drove me into I want to be better at everything. I want to be better than anyone else around me, and so it's like if I could tear someone else down, then it would make me feel better. So I would look down on people for a short period, and then through that, it's like, okay, how do I become better? Well, now I've only grown up with this idea of negativity as this driven force for me to be better. So I'm going to look at, okay, where did I fail today at? Where did I mess up? And so every time I would mess up or something would fall short for me, it's like I would tear myself apart for it. Because I was thinking, if I tear myself down enough, then I'll be better. If I hurt myself enough, I'll step up to the plate next time.
Yeah.
And instead, it just crumbled me more and more. And to the point that it's like I wanted to give up on things that I had so much passion for before.
Yeah.
And it was like a big shift had to change. But what was my biggest root was ultimately thinking like the only way I can be better is if I look at my faults first.
Yeah. I think as an athlete, I share that same thing that you just said is like if I could just beat myself down enough, I won't make that mistake anymore.
Yeah.
But if anything,
I didn't have that issue. I sucked at everything.
bro, just give it, bro.
Negativity. Example.
There it is.
Self-aware. All right.
Live example. Oh my god. Did you play sports in high school?
Bro, no, heck no. I don't know the sports.
Oh, well, I
He
thought
played the guitar.
I thought he was
Actually,
an athlete.
No athlete. No, I was some music, man. That's
Oh, okay. Well, as an athlete, like I just remember myself as just like if I would be negative enough, maybe then I'd be able to.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess for a music guy, I don't know if I play the wrong note. I don't know. I don't know, bro. I don't
really,
know.
bro. That's the instrument you go to.
Well, you play the guitar, so
I'm
that's
glad
why.
you can go clarinet, bro.
You play the clarinet?
The guitar. No, I didn't play no. That's for chumps, bro.
Texas accent.
I just
come
cannot take it back.
Same
Anybody who
Texas.
plays clarinet, y'all, hardcore. With y'all's
Hardcore.
tiny lips, but you know, it is what it is.
So like all those times in sports, like I would beat myself down to the point where I would probably injure myself. Like I've had those moments, and I think also too.
But you would like hit yourself?
Nah, like just I would push myself so hard. It's like this is not happening again. When I was running a lot, bro, I was like, man, my time was off by 5 seconds. Can't let that happen again. Because if you do, you suck. And if anything, you suck right now. So you need to push yourself as much as you can so that won't happen again. And so like the entire time I was under a lot of pressure because like lots of people had their eyes on me. And so then I was just like, being negative on myself, then I'll push myself down, and I ended up getting myself hurt, and I messed up my.
Do you think
my leg.
both of you guys? Do you guys think that you guys were being? Thought y'all needed to meet that standard not because you wanted to get better, but because you were trying to cover up an insecurity that you guys had?
I think
More than trying to get better. It really wasn't about getting better. It was just not making it look like a fool.
Deep down inside, I wanted people to like me. Deep down inside, I wanted people to love me, and so like. A lot of times, if I don't succeed in this, then people ain't gonna like me.
Negativity can be outrooted at that as well.
Exactly.
Wanting
So,
people to like you.
Deep down inside, the reason I was so hard on myself and being so negative in this area and pushing myself so hard is because I know if I fail, then I'm nobody.
Yeah.
Because I was like, sports is my thing. If I fail, I ain't nobody. I'm just Arnold, and nobody likes just Arnold.
Yeah.
They like
You weren't secure in yourself.
they like track star Arnold, and so a lot of times I was like. Whenever people were criticizing me about being 1 second off, I took it. Even if it was negative, even if it was like, you can't ever do that, I just took it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, that's what I need. That was what I needed.
Again,
what
it
I
goes to the needs.
And so therefore, like, every time somebody says something, I would just pay so close attention to it. Regardless, positive, negative, don't matter. I was taking in
At that point, you're letting other people control your life.
Oh yeah.
Rather than you control your own life.
Same thing with.
So if you guys don't like being controlled and you like getting people's opinions, you're actually being the victim of their being controlled by their opinions.
Yeah, for sure. How can we avoid negativity?
I would say positivity, but positivity is like looking at something and ignoring the stuff that's actually around it. But I would say optimism. Optimism means it might not change the circumstance, but I can be open. I can look at it from a different perspective. You know what I'm saying?
And optimistic is more so, I'm going to try it.
I'm going to try it even though it's not packaged in the way, ideally in the way that I want it to be packaged. Because positivity, I think there's toxic positivity.
Oh,
Have you
yeah.
heard of that?
I mean, it's this sense of good vibes, like all about the vibes.
Everything's good vibes.
Everything's good.
Good vibes. We're going to be all right. We broke, but keep spending some money.
But we broke,
Talk about
Sure, I lost my leg, but you know what I'm saying.
I walk one day. But you really won't.
So I would say not positivity. But I would say more optimism than positivity.
Yeah.
It's like even though there might be something going on in your life, or somebody's in the way, or some obstacle or setback, challenge, whatever it is, to see it as it's still going to be there. But how am I going to rearrange it in my mind?
Yeah.
I like the way that John Maxwell talked about it. He was like, especially it has to do with attitude. So he was talking about how whenever you walk into a room and it's completely messy, right? I can't change how the room looks. But what I can do is I can rearrange what it looks like in my mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Another thing I know for optimism is like you're accepting the circumstance that's going on, but you see the potential of the future ahead of what it can be,
Oh,
it
heck
could
yeah.
be. And it's like always looking ahead. What is the potential? Like, where's the potential in this? And not just you can look at the potential outcome from a negative perspective and a positive perspective.
Yeah.
But being the optimist is looking at it from a positive perspective of ahead in the future. So positivity is right now. Optimism is about looking ahead at the positive side of what it could be.
I like to look at it as optimism is the steps, the realistic steps to getting there.
Yeah.
But positivity is just the emotion. It's just like,
Oh, heck yeah.
I feel that it's going to be good.
Yeah,
Knowing dang well. You can try to feel good, but knowing where you're going, the steps that are going towards that area are not going to be very positive. It's like,
Yeah.
I hope that.
That's good.
I hope that I'm going to, be able to, one day, hey, we're going to be rich.
Yeah.
But yet, what am I doing on the outside? I'm spending money. So it's just like, one day I'm going to be rich, but I'm spending money on the outside. It's just like, I want that to happen, but it's not going to happen sometimes. You know? And the optimism is like, it's planning the steps to get to that point.
Definitely.
And a way to avoid negativity is it's all about your attitude and your perspective. I like to say that negativity is an unrealistic perspective of a poor attitude. So, like, if you have, as we said it on pessimism and negativity, you're pretty much already seeing that it's going to fail. Your perspective on something already says it's going to fail, it's not going to work. And then you keep going to that. Your attitude is poor, so therefore your perspective continues to flow out from that as well. So, like, obviously, if your attitude is not where it's supposed to be, and you just don't care, you're just living life, and you're like, whatever life brings, I'm ready for it. Life can't get any better because it's already going worse. So therefore, your perspective just continues to just look out of whack.
Yeah.
Because your attitude towards life is not correct, and therefore your perspective is not going to mimic the same thing.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times it's just your perspective. First, think what made you get to that point. What made you get to that point where everything is just black and gray, black and white? What made you get to that point? And then on top of that, it's like, okay, well, how can I actually get out of that negative state?
Yeah, and I think that Philippians 4:8 from the scripture can actually answer that question. He says, because after you have self-awareness of where you are, like you just said, I have a negative right now. All right, for Philippians 4:8. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. It takes an action at this point. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise.
Yeah.
You have
That's
to
good.
think on those specifically.
Yeah.
Rewind the takeover, rewind spot, whatever you at, and write that mess down and check yourself if you're thinking all those things.
So it's actually just saying fix your thoughts, fix your eyes, fix your sight, fix your heart, fix your mind to those things. Don't just think about it, but actually fix, like, say my head is looking this way, but somebody tells, fix your eyes on this over here.
Yeah.
It actually takes me having to move my head to go look that way in order for me to see what that person's talking about. You have to do it.
You have to intentionally fix your eyes. Attitude doesn't happen automatically. You have to align or position yourself in a place to get that. You see, these signs that we have on these walls, right? I think you can see it in the camera. But it's like, let all that you do be done in love. You think that's for decoration, bro?
Nah, bro, that's for affirmation.
Shoot, exactly. It's for affirmation, not decoration.
Affirmation,
So-
not decoration, boy. Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's a rapper
Bars.
that never made it. Anyways,
No, but that helps you get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
It's that daily reminder. It's that daily action of trying to fix your mind to those things that are not negative.
yeah, I mean, it says it in the scripture, like, write it on your footstool, on the threshold, write it on your forehead, put it on your
Why?
hand.
Why?
Because whatever you surround yourself with, whatever you keep consistently focus on is what you become.
Because sometimes just the mere thought is not enough.
No.
The mere
No,
thought
no,
of
no.
wanting to be
Better.
optimistic, be better. easier said than done.
That's the difference between intentionality and actually being our intentions versus our actions. My intention is I want to be.
I want to do this.
I want to do this.
Don't mean
it don't mean anything until you actually do something about it.
Yeah.
That's why I like a quote that was given to me. This really spoke to my heart. But it's like it's not what happens to you that matters, but what happens in you that really matters.
Man, and think about this too. Like several characters in the Bible, in moments, were negative.
Every last one of them guys had a negative moment.
Yeah, they had negative moments to the point where they were like, "Oh, we're gonna die," or even though Jesus knew the plan the entire time, but Jesus would tell these people, "Here's what's gonna happen," but still, people would say, "Nope, I'm pretty sure you're wrong because it looks like we're about to die." And then there's other times where it's like. Jesus tells certain people that you have this certain skill, or you could do this, or you're valuable to this much, and still they didn't believe that. And so, like, think about those people, how human they were. But even the person that you probably look up to the most, even the person that you follow, even if you read scripture, it takes you accepting the truth. It takes you wanting to say, I'm not going to be negative. I'm not going to be this person. Because again, like all these characters in the Bible were being told that they can do it, but then they were saying, I cannot do it.
They have their own doubts. And the thing is like, Jesus is like, he's like, why do you doubt me? Like, you've already seen what I've done.
For real.
Ultimately, the answer is for him. He knows they won't truly believe until he leaves. Because the day he leaves and the Spirit can come is where the opportunity for them to realize, wow, they had the power the entire time. Yeah. That's when Peter goes out and speaks to the hundreds right after Jesus leaves.
Acts chapter 2.
Acts chapter 2. Yeah. And so with that, it's like, it's not just going to be by what you hear, what you listen, what you read. It's a matter of also being transformed on the inside. Because you can't do it alone.
Yeah.
And I know people who they haven't believed or accept Christ as their Savior. There's also the people who've accepted Christ but have never accepted His Spirit. Ooh. And like until you get to the place where you accept His Spirit in you, you will never truly walk out what the Scripture says. Because you're only doing it in your flesh and blood.
Yeah.
And until it is deep and sown into you by the Spirit, is the only way you're going to walk out as a true optimist, as a true believer, and walk out like Jesus taught us in Scripture.
Yeah. And by no means is this impossible to do it on your own, but it's more challenging to do it by yourself. I think once you surround yourself around people who also share the same optimism and really want you to succeed, they're going to tell you and they're going to overrule your negativity and tell you what truly is.
Yeah.
But then also, they're going to be realistic with you in a loving way. Now, we're not talking about like unrealistic, like we talked about a while ago, is like thinking ahead of time of things that could happen, but it's just like that's way far out there.
Yeah.
But more so in like realistic in a way with love and telling them, okay, I could see this happening because I know you, but stop being this way, stop being negative. And so I think with us, like there's times where we can get negative.
Yeah. But again,
100%.
we have this circle right here where we can go back to one another. And we'll call each other out. You've called me out on stuff many times. And I can take it as a negative, but I know you're building me up.
Well, yeah, it takes maturity to do that.
It does. Yeah.
That's why you can't just surround yourself by anybody.
That's the right people, yeah.
You got to go around the right people, the mature people. The ones that
Come on,
got a little skin in the game or actually been through it. You need somebody with a little bit of credibility or something.
How you find that credibility? How you find people with credibility?
They're the ones who they're probably older than you. Most likely,
study them too.
True.
They're probably older than you,
but you also study them. You look for them and you kind of study and see, okay, what makes this person credible?
Yeah, no, look at their life, look at their lifestyle, look at their character. If anything, look at their character, not their reputation.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Their character means they're the same in the day, they're the same at night. It doesn't matter what it is, they're the same, and they're worth emulating.
Yeah,
I could trust this guy.
So, where do we draw the line in the area of negativity? I think right now you need to stop being negative because you're self-sabotaging a lot of things in your life. Yeah. If you are being negative today, let me tell you something. You weren't born with that. Like Danny said at the beginning, It's not something that was already in you. You began to create that with inside of you, but you weren't normally created like that. And when you do those things, when you're so negative when you're so negative about life, you start to question life. When you're so negative about yourself, you start questioning yourself. When you're so negative about circumstances and people, you question everything and you self-sabotage everything. Next thing you know, you're by yourself and you don't want to do anything else. And this life is pointless because everything is negative, because you've placed yourself in a perspective that is not realistic because you had a poor attitude and you didn't want to fix that attitude. So I challenge everybody that's listening, is that negativity can grab a hold of your life only if you let it. If you truly let negativity affect you, bro, it's gonna take you down, like it will. And then consistently, it's gonna take some work to take that away from your life, negativity.
Yeah.
But you weren't born like that. If you be optimistic. I wouldn't even say positivity. Positivity, like you said, sometimes it could be a little bit different, but optimistic, which that leads to you having hope in something and also working towards something. And so draw the line in that area. Don't be negative, because it can change the course of your life if you become negative. And so lead the healthy life. Be a true leader without negativity, you know?
Come on. Yeah. I would say have hope for the future. Just basically in the way what you're summing up, it's just hopeful for what's to come, but also if you're questioning yourself, wondering like where did it all begin, is ask yourself the questions like where did it start from, where did it come from? Yeah. Search in yourself, look back in your past, ask your family, bring your friends around. This boy gangsta, like bring people in your circle to help you, because if you're battling with negativity, it's sometimes it's not going to be something you can fix on your own. It's something you gotta ask someone else, hey, can you just help me through this? Ask for a mentor, someone that's credible, someone that's older than you, more wiser than you, someone who's lived it already, walk through your life, or someone who's lived a life of optimism, and ask them, how have you been optimistic? Like, this world is so dark and so hard to live through. How does someone live a life being optimistic? Being on the uppity upside versus looking at everything down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say to draw the line as in make a decision like Arnold and these guys were saying, like, I'm going to be optimistic. Yeah. You know, I got to discipline myself to do it. You know what I'm saying? I got to separate, cut off what's not good. And every single day, I got to work towards it. Work towards it. Basically, take whatever you want, whatever's true, whatever's beautiful, whatever's good, whatever's admirable, whatever's excellent and praiseworthy. Think in those thoughts every single day, consistently, over and over and over and over again, until you deposit it into your subconscious mind, the heart, until you deposit it into your heart. Ooh, and don't stop until it's completely in there. Exactly. That's what I would say. It's like, that's good, bro. It's like like sports, man. You got to work it out. It's hard work. It's training. Training. It's a daily commitment, a daily discipline, like you said. And if you quit, it's not really going to happen. If you quit, here's the thing. If you quit, then all the people that are going to benefit from your life will not benefit from your life. That's why you need to work on being optimistic, not negative, because you're significant. You're needed by other people. Even if you don't believe it, people are in need of this treasure on the inside of your heart or inside of you that God has placed in you. With or without your permission, you're a treasure from heaven. And you're absolutely needed by people. Those in your school, at the store, wherever it is. It doesn't matter where it is. But negativity can steal the treasure or the heavenly deposit in you from other people. Yeah, for sure. That's negativity, folks. Hey, listen. I'm glad that we were able to talk about this today. I think in the society today, negativity is pushed around more than anything else. Negativity is passed around because it's so easy to do. Yeah. Sometimes you can be negative and nobody else knows. And so I think we felt like this would be something we needed to talk about, and hopefully you guys learned from it. Any closing remarks y'all want to make towards that? Nope. I think we're good. No. Yeah. Well, you guys, thanks again for joining us for another podcast. Hey, we are racking up the episodes, man. So let us know. Let us know what you want to hear in our YouTube comment section. Type down what you want to hear.
Also
Please,
on Spotify.
please ask questions.
Oh yeah, ask,
If you have
there go.
any kind of questions, it doesn't matter what it is.
We'll
just
tackle
put
them.
it in.
Yeah, we'll tackle them. You know, we'll do our best to answer those, but we can't answer those if you don't ask them.
That's true.
So,
Yeah.
like we have our own topics, but we'd rather help you in the area that you are wanting help in.
Yeah.
You know, and so just feel free to put down in the chat like, hey, I want to talk about this. At the end of every Spotify episode, there is a questionnaire at the bottom that you can just fill out with any questions that you have. But thank you guys for listening.
Yep.
It's time to deuce out. Your boy Arnold out.
We love you.
Adios.
See you guys.